And welcome to Rise Life, place where we get the science. Take two. Welcome to Rise Life, place where we get the science. Welcome to Rise Life. Subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on one single really cool video. I gotta do that thing again where it's not covering both my ears. All right, probably my last broadcast from the States until I get to Italy on Sunday. Actually, Monday. I leave on Sunday. And then, go forward in time. And I have everything planned and ready to go for my work over there. I know exactly what I'm going to write. That doesn't take into account stuff that will come up, short stories and stuff like that. But I should be all set. And it doesn't look like I'm going to have Terminal Moonlight ready to go, ready to be launched by then. So I'm going to have to finish that over there probably next week. It's just taking a long time to edit. And I'm kind of rewriting it too. I don't like the version that Down and Out did. There was some mistakes in it and stuff like that. So I have to go through it with a comb. But it'll be worth it. So it's going to be like a brand new book. So, which is cool. And the other big news, I did ink a deal with Vigilante Crime, the brand new Vigilante Crime and Pulp, which is an imprint of Gutter Books. So I'm kind of excited about that. That'll be cool. If it works, if this works out, could be, and I'm just saying could be, that Vigilante might be my new go-to pub, like my Down and Out, my kind of like my working, I don't want to say it, like my, the pub. I can just contact the publisher and be like, I got a new book, and they'll be like, great, let's do it. Let's get it on the schedule. That was the kind of relationship I had with Down and Out, and it worked well. And I do it unagented, but where the agent comes in is she'll market the foreign rights and the movie rights and all that sort of stuff. And the owner of Vigilante / Gutter, Matthew Lewis, is big on that too. He'll market film and all that stuff too. So maybe between the two of them, we can get something going. So I just been nuts. I've been doing all these errands. I got a list of errands to do, everything from buying euros, and I went today to pick up some extra. I take a little med for my heart, or whatever, nothing big, but I wanted to bring some with me, but they're like, we don't have any, so hope nothing happens. So but just there's so much to do. It's crazy. This is the only thing about solo travel. When you're doing it all yourself, you got to do it all yourself. But when it's two people are involved, you can split the duties, between each other. Not that I've ever experienced much of that. I think out of my travels of the past, I want to say 25 years, maybe 5. I'm talking international trips, expeditions, and also I'm going to include, my long stays in Italy too with that. But maybe I've traveled with somebody 5 times altogether. So I'm just so used to doing it alone at this point that I don't even envision sharing a trip with somebody at this point. But it'll happen eventually. It'll happen again, hopefully. So the big news today, aside from the Epstein files, which is totally backfired against the Democrats. Like 3 or 4 of them already are going down because of it. they were taking big money from Epstein, and somehow Epstein had the ear, literally, of at least one member of Congress, and Stacey Plaskin, and they tried to censor her yesterday, but of course, like none of the Dems would do it, and she got caught red-handed and tried to lie her way out of it and justify why she did it, they're just such fucking liars, it's just unbelievable. But I suspect, and I'm getting this from Matt Taibbi, probably my favorite journalist, a lot of heads are going to roll from this, and a lot of them are going to be on the left, and it's going to be amazing. So just sit back and butter the popcorn and watch it happen. I'm not trying to take a side here, but I'm just saying it's what's going to happen. There'll probably be a few rhinos too, or steadfast Republicans who get nailed as well, probably, because they all take money from whatever. They don't give a shit who they take money from, right? Everybody's money's green. Doesn't matter what you do, everybody's money is green. The other big news that the bookseller today reports that in the UK, or of published UK novelists, 51% of them believe that AI is going to take over fiction. That's depressing, right? It's supposed to be. But I have news for you. And I haven't denied this at all, ever. It's just that my opinion of it is becoming more nuanced as time goes on. Yes, AI is going to take over fiction. It damn well will, and probably within the next decade. It's coming. It's coming for art. It's coming for fiction. It's coming for nonfiction. It's already taken over rather dull articles. Like, for instance, like I had a gig with an influencer for the past 5 years. It took me like an hour a day, maybe. And I would write, I would ghostwrite articles for professionals in their field. I would write something like, and it paid well, right? And it was easy. I could do it with one hand while I had my breakfast. Figuratively speaking. And I'll give you an example. The benefits of using high-tech remote controlled excavating devices. 5 benefits, something like that, right? And you just you write an opening, and then you get 3 sources, and then you just and it links to the sources and all that. Maybe 700 to 1,000 words. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, collect your check. And when it first, 3 years ago or so, when chat came about, how long's chat been around now? 3 years? Say it's been 3 years. Time goes by so fast. We had strict orders. The writing pool does not use Chat GPT or any AI of any kind. Those were our orders. And if anybody got caught doing it, you were immediately dismissed. And then about 6-7 months ago, the boss came through and said, like, we're using AI now, except for the few clients who insist on a human being. He was like, sorry. Like I said before, it was a money thing, because he was getting it for free. And he was able to pass that on to the client, I guess. So that job was gone. And it is gone, whatever. Luckily, I've been doing so well with my fiction and royalties and stuff like that, that I no longer needed it anyway. And it was getting to the point where it was so fucking boring. Like, it was like, I can't even possibly write this anymore. It was like I was out for beers with a best-selling author, Tom Schreck, the other night, who was one of my really good friends. And we were talking about having to because he's a freelancer too. And we've talked about having to take on some of these boring freelance gigs, right? And if you've ever read like the World on a String, like it's like a freelance writer's Bible. It says like, these boring jobs are, like dismiss these at your peril. And there's a lot of truth in that. And I used to live on these jobs, but now many of them are disappearing rapidly because of AI, absolutely rapidly. And but we were just cracking up, like, because I was like, remember this one guy? Like, he finally got this gig where he was editor of like corrugated cardboard box magazine. It was like, you can't get any more boring than that, right? Like, oh boy, here's the new edition. Like, I don't even know what a subject would be. Like, I'd have to write something that's like how to kill somebody with a corrugated box. Like rejected. But anyway, oh, I'm like sniffling. I don't know what that's all about. But okay, back to fiction. So the first they say the report at Book Reporter, is it Book Reporter? What is it? The bookseller. Bookseller says that the first to go is going to be romance authors. A lot of them are already going. Like a lot of that shit is written by AI already, by actual authors. They use the AI and shit it out. Like they're so formulaic. And then it was like the next one will be thrillers, and then after that, crime. So I'm in the thriller crime thing, right? I don't know how in the world right now AI could ever match anything I write. And I, like, come on, we've all done it. I had like chat, like, write me a Thick Moonlight PI short story. And it was like, okay, yes. And came out with like a 5,000 word short story that was awful. It was just awful. And it can't write in the first person. It can only write in like the third person. And the reason is because, and this is going to be the big problem for AI for now. It can only go on what's out there, but it can't recognize the first person because the first person has emotion and feelings and it a lot of times, like, the narrator is irreliable and unreliable, I should say. Irreliable? Does that work? Unreliable. And that won't make sense to AI. Like, it has to be logical. And I'm like the least logical person on the earth. I just do everything wrong a lot of times. And a lot of my characters do things that they shouldn't do. And they're falling in love when they shouldn't. And like there's just in other words, like, AI doesn't have emotion. And it's going to be tough for it to convey that in a story. Whereas like a romance story, like that's all sex or whatever, it's just describing pornography, a lot of it, erotic noir, that is. So not a lot of problem there, but with the stuff I write, and I consider, like, even though I write noir, I write pulp, I write crime, I write mystery, I write action adventure. And aside from the action adventure stuff, I consider the noir stuff to have a real literary bent to it. And by literary, I mean like highbrow, stuff they teach at college. And indeed, a couple of my books are taught in some colleges and universities, so I've discovered. But so it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while for that to happen, but it is going to happen. Make no mistake, it is going to happen. So that begs the question: how do we handle it? Are we just going to put writers out of business, or are we going to get some legislation on this thing and be like, okay, well, anything that's AI created has to say AI created. Anything that's human has to say human. And if you lie and you get caught, there's got to be some sort of sanction, right? Legal sanction. Okay, I'll leave that up to the legislatures of the world. But I think until then, there's got to be a way, a fail-safe way for people, for authors not to lie. Because there probably are authors out there who are using AI to like write maybe a little bit of their story, you know, maybe like a third of it, and they'll be like, nobody's going to know the difference, and therefore it'll speed up their process and all that. So you could say that's cheating. I do. Certainly cheating your fans, but some people don't care. Right now, AI is crowding the space. That's another thing that has to be looked at and taken care of. AI is definitely crowding the indie space. And we all share the indie space, no matter how you publish, traditionally or independently or whatever. And I do both. So, like, we're all competing for that space. So there's going to have to be some legislation. There's no question about it. But yes, AI will take over, but the good news is we will write right beside it. We're not going to stop writing, and people are not going to stop reading human books. They're just not. You can get AI music now, and some pop stars or whatever don't even have bands anymore. They just go to a producer and they create a song, and they use the computer AI to make a song that sounds like it's got real drums and guitar and bass and all that stuff. From what I understand, music contracts aren't even given out anymore to bands. They just no reason for it. Everything's streaming, whatever. But that doesn't mean like guitars aren't selling, drums aren't selling, bands aren't playing. Of course they are. And some are making a good living. So, so am I like pessimistic about the whole thing? No. Also, I'm getting older, so from a personal point of view, I don't really care. But I know a lot of you are a lot younger, and you have a career still ahead of you, and you do care about it, and it can be anxiety provoking. But AI is going to take it all. It's going to take most of the white collar jobs because it's going to be better at it and faster. It's going to take like coding, going to be done. It already is almost done. I think probably anything to do with computers, probably done. Accounting, it's going to take over your healthcare, like your primary healthcare, your GP, and it's probably going to be more accurate. It's going to take over a lot of surgeries. It's going to probably cure some cancers. Yep. It's going to do a lot for humanity, but it can be, if it's used right. And even Elon is saying like it's going to become so good if we train it the right way, it'll become so good that it'll actually eliminate poverty because it'll create such a surplus of money, and that people will have free time, and people won't even need jobs. So things are going to have to change. We're going to have to maybe in the future look at a universal income, something like that. I don't know how that will work. Here's what I don't get. It's like, okay, so you can maybe focus on your hobbies more or something like that. So, okay, say my hobby is fishing, which it is. Somebody's got to sell you the fishing rod. Somebody's got to manufacture it. All those things have to happen. Like somebody's got to go to work to do that, unless robots do it, I guess, because the robots are coming. So we're entering a brave new world that is going to be, it's scary on one hand, but at the other, it could do a lot of good. Anyway, I saw that article and I thought I got to go online and comment about this. But don't worry, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not affecting my life whatsoever. I'm still working my balls off to come up with good stories, and I do it prolifically. Do I use AI for research and stuff like that? Yeah, and it said something like 80% of authors these days admit to using AI for research purposes or editing purposes, copy editing. Um, you can use it to help you hone a product description or to come up with a tagline, a more efficient one. And when I say the product descriptions, you can use it to help you come up with like an SEO friendly product description for your Kindle version, um, or an Amazon algorithm friendly version. Like it pays to use that stuff. It'll help you come up with keywords for your independent books and your traditional books. Like, because oftentimes I've had publishers ask me, what do you think would be some good keywords for these books? So there's good stuff. There's like, it can be like your assistant. I can't wait to get a robot assistant. I'm going to be all over that. I definitely want a robot. It's going to be cool. I'm going to call him Alfred if it's a man one, but knowing me, I'll probably go for the female one. I'll call her, what would I call her? All right, I was going to say I'll call her Rosie, like in, the Jetsons, but I have a friend who we dated a little bit. Her name's Rosie, so I don't want her to think, and she's very nice. So I don't, Anyway. All right, that's all I got for you. I got more to do here. What time is it? 3:30. All right, I got to run out again. At this point, I'm just giving up on production this week. Totally giving up on it. You know what I'm going to write? When I get to the airport. And Sunday. All right, not looking forward to the drive down to JFK. It's such a drag, especially the Van Wyck on a Sunday. The Van Wyck's never good on any day. But I don't know how people live in the suburbs of New York City. I just don't know how. I would have a heart attack, like driving every day, or if I had to, or whatever. I don't know. Hey. But if you do live down there, you're probably making the big bucks. All right, you guys. I hope you're all having a great week. And I got to put together my newsletter for shit. All right, I got stuff to do. All right, I will talk to you guys later, and ciao, ciao.